There's a reason you're seeing this right now, as if the digital noise of the world suddenly parted to reveal a path meant specifically for your eyes. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for there is a timing to your arrival here that transcends the simple act of scrolling. You may have been feeling a vibration you couldn't quite explain lately, a subtle hum in your spirit that whispers of a change you cannot yet see. Don't rush past this just yet, my child. Let this unfold for a second, and allow your breath to catch up with the pace of your soul. Your frequency, that unique song your spirit sings into the ether, has triggered this encounter because it is finally in alignment with a truth you have been seeking for lifetimes. As you stand here in this silent corridor of divine appointment, you might notice a stillness settling over your thoughts that feels both foreign and familiar. You are not here randomly, my beloved heir. You have been led to this threshold because the celestial bodies have shifted into a configuration that demands your attention. Something is shifting quietly in the unseen realms, and it is beginning to ripple into your physical reality in ways you are just now starting to perceive. There is a reason you have felt that strange pull toward solitude recently, as if the voices of others were becoming too heavy to carry. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something deeper here waiting to be recognized by the part of you that never forgets its origin. You may have felt this before, that haunting uncertainty that follows you into the quiet hours of the morning, making you wonder if you are truly seeing what you think you are seeing. My choice. It is possible that your intuition has been sounding a gentle alarm regarding those who share your very name and history. There is a peculiar weight that comes when treachery is hidden behind blood ties, a confusion that arises when the faces you were taught to trust begin to feel like masks. You might be noticing how certain conversations now leave you feeling drained rather than filled, or how a simple glance across a dinner table feels like a riddle you can no longer solve. There is something about this specific dynamic that the heavens are now moving to address on your behalf. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, I want you to recognize the star-mapped internal compass that has been activated within your chest. This is not a tool of logic, but a gift of celestial alignment, designed to guide you through the fog of misplaced loyalties. You have often wondered why you feel like an outsider in your own circles, why your heart beats to a rhythm that none of your kin seems to hear. It is because you are the designated heir of a glory they cannot perceive, carrying a light that unintentionally exposes the shadows they have tried to keep hidden. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here today. You are being watched over by a vigilant ancestor from beyond, a guardian of your lineage who sees the maneuvers of the heart that remain invisible to human eyes. This watcher has been standing in the gap for you, whispering warnings into your dreams and nudging your awareness toward the discrepancies in the stories you've been told. You may have experienced a sudden, unexplained urge to keep your plans to yourself lately, or a quiet voice telling you to wait before signing a document or making a promise. That was not paranoia, my beloved. That was ethereal defense in action, a protective shield woven from the love of those who have already crossed the threshold of time. Not everything is clear yet, and that is by design, for the sovereign clarity you seek is a garden that must be watered with patience. There is a subtle, real-life moment you might recall, perhaps a time recently when a relative's praise felt cold, or when their concern felt more like a cage. You may have brushed it off, telling yourself you were being sensitive, but your spirit was actually recording the frequency of a hidden intention. Your internal compass was reacting to a misalignment in the room, trying to steer you toward a place of safety that your mind wasn't ready to accept. This connects to something deeper, a cycle of ancestral patterns that you were born to finally break. Stay with this moment, my heir, for something is shifting in the way you perceive your own power. You are moving from the haunted halls of uncertainty into the bright courtyard of sovereign clarity, where no lie can survive the light of your presence. You may have been searching for validation from the very people who are incapable of giving it, but that search is ending now as you recognize your own divine standing. There is no need for confrontation when you possess the truth. Silence is often the most profound gatekeeper of your peace. As you begin to trust the map written in your stars, you will find that the paths of those who mean you harm simply stop intersecting with yours. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency, for there are many more inscriptions of light to be read. You might notice that as we speak, the tension in your shoulders is beginning to dissolve, replaced by a grounded sense of authority. You are becoming the master of your own corridor, the one who decides which voices are allowed to echo in your hallowed spaces. This is not about building walls out of fear, but about setting boundaries out of honor for the glory you carry. The treachery you feared is losing its grip because it can only thrive in the darkness of your doubt, and that darkness is currently being erased. There's a reason you're hearing this now, and it is to remind you that your ethereal defense is impenetrable so long as you remain in alignment with your inner truth. You may notice small shifts in your environment over the coming days. A person might suddenly stop calling, or a secret might reveal itself through a simple, accidental slip of the tongue. Watch these events without panic, for they are the mechanisms of heaven rearranging your world to reflect your true value. You are being moved into a position of high vantage, where you can see the landscape of your life with the eyes of the divine. As we draw near to the conclusion of this particular message, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the center of your being. If there is a warmth there, a sense of finally being seen, then the activation is complete. You are the heir of glory, protected by a love that predates your birth and guided by a compass that is tethered to the very heart of the Creator. Walk forward with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are never truly alone, for the silent corridor is now flooded with the light of your awakening. Let this resonance settle deep within you, and when you are ready, step back into your world as the sovereign being you were always meant to be. You may not even know why you stopped here, as if your hand moved of its own accord to pause the constant stream of the world just for this breath. There is a timing to this arrival that you may not have noticed yet. A cosmic synchronization that happens only when the soul is ready to shed a layer of its old skin. You may have sensed this before, a feeling of being watched over by something far greater than yourself, especially during those moments when you felt most misunderstood by those closest to you. Just give this a little space to settle into your heart, for we are standing together at a quiet midnight threshold where the secrets of the stars are beginning to whisper your name. This moment is not a coincidence. Your soul's frequency triggered this encounter because the light you carry has finally reached an intensity that can no longer be ignored. You are standing now in a still inner chamber of your own spirit, a place where the noise of family expectations and ancestral burdens cannot reach. There is something about this space that feels ancient, as if you have returned to a room you occupied before you ever took a human form. You are not here randomly, my beloved heir. You have been led to this inner sanctum to examine a sealed scroll that contains the truth of your ethereal defense. You may be noticing a subtle shift in the atmosphere around you, a coolness that brings peace instead of a chill, signaling that the divine alignment is moving into place. Stay with this feeling for a moment, because there is an opening here that is about to reveal why your path has felt so solitary lately. You may have felt this before, a strange discomfort that arises in the middle of a family gathering, a sense that the words being spoken do not match the energy behind the eyes of those you love. My choice. It is possible that you have been navigating a complex web of treachery hidden behind blood ties, where loyalty is often demanded but rarely truly given. You might be noticing how your recent successes seem to provoke a peculiar silence in some, or a forced cheerfulness in others, that leaves you feeling more alone than before. There is something about the way certain people in your circle look at you that suggests they are measuring your height only to see if they still stand taller. In a moment, this may become clearer, as we begin to look at the star-mapped internal compass that was given to you at birth to navigate these very waters. This compass does not point toward the expectations of others, but toward the celestial north of your own sovereign purpose. You may have spent years trying to recalibrate yourself to fit into the small boxes your family built for you, only to find that your spirit always breaks the lid. You are the designated heir of a glory that is not dependent on their approval, and your internal guidance system is now vibrating with the frequency of your true home. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, standing at this threshold of revelation. You are learning that your sensitivity is not a flaw, but the very antenna that allows you to detect the shifts in the ethereal defense surrounding your life. A vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing just past the veil, watching your movements with a pride that the living may not yet be capable of expressing. This guardian, perhaps a mother or a grandmother whose love was always a shield, sees the subtle maneuvers of those who wish to keep you in the shadows of the family tree. They have been intervening in ways you might have mistaken for bad luck. The missed meeting, the phone that wouldn't charge, the sudden change of plans that kept you away from a toxic encounter. Those were not accidents, my beloved. They were the hands of your watcher guiding you back into the light of your own alignment. There's something about this protection that is becoming more active now, as you step closer to the fulfillment of your celestial contract. Not everything is clear yet, and that micro-tension you feel in your chest is simply the soul adjusting to a higher frequency of truth. You may be noticing how certain childhood memories are resurfacing with a new perspective, allowing you to see the roots of the competition and hidden agendas that have long played out in your lineage. It is a subtle real-life moment when you realize that the protection you were offered was actually a form of control, meant to keep your light from outshining the collective. This awareness may feel heavy at first, but it is the first step toward the sovereign clarity that will eventually set you entirely free. Stay with this moment, for there is a bridge being built right now between your haunted uncertainty and your divine becoming. There is something about the way the light is falling on your path today that suggests the old cycles are finally breaking. You are moving from a state of silence and discomfort into a wide expanse of clarity, where you no longer need to explain your soul to those who refuse to hear it. You may have felt a pressure to fix your family or to heal the wounds of those who came before you, but your role is actually much simpler and more profound. You are here to embody the glory of your own alignment, becoming a living testament to what happens when a soul chooses truth over tradition. If this resonates, you may already feel the weight of those old obligations starting to lift from your shoulders. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected as we continue to unseal the chapters of your ethereal defense. You might notice that as you accept your identity as the heir of glory, the people who once tried to diminish you seem to lose their power to affect your mood. Their words may still be spoken, but they no longer land. They simply drift past you like autumn leaves that have lost their life force. This is the activation of your sovereign clarity, a state of being where you are so grounded in your celestial identity that the treachery of men becomes a mere whisper in the wind. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here that your spirit is beginning to drink in like cool water after a long desert trek. You are not here randomly, my child. You are here because the stars have aligned to remind you that your internal compass is infallible. You may have doubted yourself in the past, wondering if your gut feelings were just imagination, but the events of the coming weeks will provide the proof you have been seeking. You might receive a message or witness a behavior that confirms exactly what your intuition has been whispering for months. When this happens, do not react with anger, but with a quiet nod of recognition, for you are now a master of discernment. Your ethereal defense is not made of stone or steel, but of a frequency that only truth can inhabit. As this reflection settles into your awareness, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the quiet spaces of your mind. There is a sense of coming home to yourself, a realization that the treachery you faced was merely the friction needed to spark your awakening. Your vigilant ancestor is smiling, for they see that you have finally stopped looking for a map in the hands of those who are lost. You carry the star map within you, and your journey into sovereign clarity has only just begun. If this message supported your heart today, take a second to breathe in the peace that is now rightfully yours. And notice how much lighter the world feels when you are no longer carrying what was never yours to bear. Out of everything you could have done in this vast expanse of time, you paused here, as if a thread of light caught your spirit and gently tethered it to this space. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for there is a silent machinery of fate working beneath the surface of your day, aligning your awareness with a frequency you have long forgotten. Part of you already understands this, recognizing the pull of a truth that has been waiting for the noise of the world to fade before it could finally reach your ears. Don't rush past this just yet, my chosen. Let the stillness of this unseen place of reflection wrap around you like a familiar cloak and allow the weight of your day to rest at the door. You are standing now in a silent corridor that exists between the seconds of your life, a place where the walls are covered in light inscriptions that only your soul can read. These are the records of your journey, the map of every mountain you have climbed and every valley where you felt abandoned. You are not here randomly, my beloved. You have been brought to this passage because your celestial alignment is reaching a point of critical mass. You may be noticing a strange sensation of being suspended in time lately, as if the world is moving at one speed while you are vibrating at another. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something deeper here that is about to illuminate the path forward in a way you never thought possible. You may have felt this before, a lingering exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much you sleep and everything to do with the emotional weight you carry. My heir, you may have been moving through your life with a subtle shiver in your spirit, a reaction to the treachery hidden behind blood ties that you have sensed but dared not name. You might be noticing a feeling of being invisible even when you are surrounded by family, as if the version of you they see is a ghost of who you truly are. There is an emotional recognition scene you might remember, sitting at a table full of familiar faces, listening to them talk, and realizing with a sudden, sharp clarity that they do not know the depth of the heart that beats within your chest. This sense of searching for a home in people who are committed to misunderstanding you is a delay that is finally coming to an end. Not everything is clear yet, and that is because your spirit is in a state of surrender, letting go of the need to be seen by those whose eyes are clouded by their own agendas. There's something about this surrender that feels like a defeat to your ego, but to your spirit, it is the beginning of a massive expansion. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, I want you to feel the internal shift as you stop trying to convince the blind of your light. You are the designated heir of glory, and the glory you carry does not require the validation of those who share your DNA but not your destiny. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at the end of this silent corridor, their presence, a warm glow that cuts through the fog of your uncertainty. This ancestor was once the keeper of the family secrets, the one who saw the patterns of betrayal and chose to stay silent to protect the peace. They are speaking to you now in the language of intuition, telling you that it is no longer your job to carry the shadows they could not resolve. You may have noticed a sudden, vivid memory of this person lately, a scent, a phrase, or a feeling of being hugged when no one was there, and that was their way of telling you that your ethereal defense is being fortified. They are here to help you navigate the treacherous waters of misplaced loyalty, acting as a spiritual vanguard for your rising light. You carry within you a star-mapped internal compass that is beginning to glow with an intensity that demands your attention. This symbol of your divine identity is not affected by the magnetic pulls of guilt or the false obligations that have been placed upon you since childhood. Perhaps you have noticed a subtle, real-life moment recently, like a lingering gaze in the mirror where you didn't recognize the person staring back, because the old version of you, the one who accepted less, is fading away. This compass is steering you away from the haunted uncertainty of your past and toward a sovereign clarity that will act as your greatest armor. This connects to something deeper, a celestial appointment that was written in the stars long before your lineage even had a name. There is a micro-tension in your life right now, a feeling that something is about to break, but it is not you who will break it, is the illusions that have held you captive. You are moving from a season of searching into a season of becoming, where you no longer look for direction outside of your own alignment. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, listening to a voice that sounds like the home you've been longing for. The treachery you have experienced was not meant to destroy you, but to serve as the catalyst for your awakening, forcing you to look inward until you found the light that cannot be extinguished. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected, for this is a journey of reclaiming the glory that was always yours. You might notice that as you walk through this silent corridor, the light inscriptions on the walls are beginning to change, reflecting a future where you are no longer defined by the betrayals of the past. Your ethereal defense is becoming a living reality, a frequency that naturally repels those who do not hold your best interests at heart. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a quiet power that is rising from your feet to your crown, preparing you for the expansion that is rightfully yours. You are not here randomly, my beloved heir. You are here because the time for hiding your light to make others comfortable has reached its natural end. You may have felt a sense of guilt for wanting to distance yourself from the drama of your bloodline, but that guilt is merely a shadow of the old world. In the sovereign clarity of your new season, you will see that distance is not an act of malice, but an act of stewardship over the divine spark you carry. The stars are aligning to provide you with the resources, the relationships, and the inner peace you need to flourish far beyond the garden where you were planted. As this message settles into the fabric of your being, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your soul. There is a sense of release, as if a heavy stone has been rolled away from the entrance of your heart, allowing the fresh air of heaven to rush in. Your vigilant ancestor is nodding in approval, for they know that you are finally ready to embrace the identity of the heir of glory. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, and acknowledge that the clarity you have gained today is the first of many gifts awaiting you on this path. You are protected, you are guided, and you are finally coming into the fullness of the star map destiny you were born to fulfill. Something about this moment brought you here, as if a silent bell tolled in the distance, and only your spirit was tuned to the frequency of its sound. Something is shifting quietly beneath the surface of your daily routine, a slow-moving tide of change that is pulling the old ground from beneath your feet. Part of you already understands this, for you have been feeling a strange restlessness that no amount of activity or distraction can seem to soothe. Stay with this for a moment, my child, and allow the noise of the external world to fade into a dull hum as we enter the quiet inner chamber where your truth is kept. You are not here by accident, for the celestial alignment of your life has reached a point where the hidden must finally be seen. You may have felt this before, that subtle heaviness in your chest that feels like a weight you've been carrying since before you knew how to speak. My beloved heir, you may have been moving through your life under the shadow of a cloud you couldn't identify, a lingering sense that you were being weighed down by hands that were supposed to lift you. You are beginning to notice a shift in your awareness now, a realization that the fatigue you feel is not of the body, but of the spirit trying to survive in a landscape of treachery hidden behind blood ties. There's something about this realization that feels like a cold wind, sharp enough to wake you up, but bitter enough to make you want to close your eyes again. In a moment, this may become clearer as we look at the burning seal that has been placed upon your heart to mark you as the designated heir of glory. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at the edge of your consciousness, their presence like a warm light reflecting off the surface of a still pond. This ancestor knows what it is like to walk among those who share the same blood but different intentions, for they navigated the very same betrayals during their time on this earth. They are reaching out now to strengthen your ethereal defense, weaving a fabric of light around your spirit that is designed to filter out the poisoned words and hidden envies of those who pretend to be your allies. You may have noticed a sudden, inexplicable feeling of protection lately, a sense that even when you were vulnerable, a hand was placed over yours to keep you from falling. There is something about this ancestral watch that is intensifying now, because the season of your awakening requires a shield that only the heavens can provide. You carry within you a star-mapped internal compass, a celestial gift that is currently vibrating in response to the burning seal of your destiny. This compass is not meant to show you the way back to the past or to the approval of your family, but to point you toward the sovereign clarity of your future. You may be noticing a shift in your internal geography, where the landmarks of your old life, the expectations of a parent, the guilt of a sibling are beginning to disappear from your sight. There is a subtle, real-life moment you might recall, perhaps a time recently when you looked at a family member and realized you were speaking two different languages, even though the words were the same. This is the awareness trigger, the moment when your spirit recognizes that your alignment is no longer compatible with the frequency of those who seek to diminish you. Not everything is clear yet, and this micro-tension you feel is a necessary part of the release, like the stretching of a bow before the arrow is let fly. You may have felt a sense of delay in your life, as if you were constantly reaching for a goal that was pulled back at the last second by an invisible thread. There's something about this delay that has been protecting you, keeping you in the quiet inner chamber, until your ethereal defense was strong enough to withstand the pressure of your rising glory. This connects to something deeper, a divine strategy that used the very treachery of your kin to force you into a place of profound self-reliance and spiritual mastery. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why the path has been so difficult, for a crown of glory is never light to carry. Think about a relatable inner struggle you have faced lately, the battle between your desire to be loved by your bloodline and your need to be true to your soul. You have spent so much energy trying to bridge the gap between their limitations and your potential, only to find yourself exhausted at the end of the day. You are noticing now that the bridge was never yours to build alone, and that some people are more comfortable on the other side of the canyon, where they can throw stones without having to face your light. There's something about this realization that brings a sharp pain, but also a deep relief, for awareness is the first step toward the release of a burden that was never yours to bear. Your internal compass is now pointing away from that canyon, steering you toward a territory where your spirit can breathe without apology. The journey from heaviness to awareness is now leading you into the final stage, the release. You are moving into a season where you no longer feel the need to defend your identity or explain your sovereign clarity to those who are invested in your confusion. You may have felt a sudden urge to clear out the physical and emotional clutter of your life lately, as if you are preparing for a long journey into a new landscape. This is the identity pull of the heir of glory, recognizing that you cannot step into the fullness of your destiny while your hands are full of the jagged pieces of other people's expectations. As you release these shards, you might find that your hands start to glow with a light of their own, the natural radiance of a soul that has found its true alignment. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this quiet inner chamber, where your spirit can rest and recharge for the days ahead. You might notice that as we speak, the burning seal on your heart is becoming a source of warmth rather than a weight, a reminder that you are marked by the divine for a purpose that transcends your lineage. Stay with this moment, for there's something deeper here than just words. There is an activation occurring in your very DNA, a recalibration of your spiritual frequency to match the stars that mapped your birth. The treachery that once haunted you is being transformed into the wisdom that will guard you, a sovereign clarity that no blood tie can ever distort. Think of an emotional recognition scene from your recent past, a moment of silence after a hurtful comment where you didn't feel the need to argue, but simply felt a profound sense of not this. That quiet not this is the voice of your ethereal defense, a sovereign boundary that has been established by your celestial alignment. You are not here randomly, my heir. For every moment of discomfort was a lesson in discerning the real from the imitation, the holy from the hollow. You are becoming a master of your own energy, learning that your presence is a gift that you are no longer obligated to give to those who treat it with contempt. The release you are experiencing is not an ending, but a graduation into a version of yourself that is both invincible and immensely kind. As this chapter closes, I want you to take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your being, where the burning seal meets the star-mapped compass. There is a sense of expansion, as if the walls of the inner chamber have turned into windows, showing you a horizon that is vast, bright, and entirely yours. Your vigilant ancestor is standing by, satisfied that you have finally recognized the treachery for what it was, a catalyst for your greatness, and that you are now walking in the light of your own sovereign clarity. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, and carry this awareness with you as you move back into the world, knowing that your ethereal defense is active, your path is mapped, and your glory is just beginning to unfold. Out of everything you could have glanced at today, you paused here, as if a celestial thread gently pulled at your sleeve to stop your movement through the noise. Something is shifting quietly in the spaces between your thoughts, a rearrangement of destiny that you have been waiting for without even knowing its name. Part of you already understands this, for you have felt the heavy silence of the unseen world pressing against your spirit lately, signaling that a major transition is at hand. Let this unfold for a second, my child, and allow yourself to stand before the open gate that has appeared in the center of your path, marking the end of your long season of wandering. You are not here randomly, for the celestial alignment of this very hour has activated a light inscription upon the air around you, visible only to the eyes of your spirit. This is not a message for the world at large, but a private decree for the designated heir of glory who has finally arrived at the threshold of their true power. You may be noticing a strange clarity in your vision lately, as if the fog that once blurred your future is suddenly lifting to reveal a landscape of vast potential and divine promise. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something deeper here, an open loop in your destiny that is finally beginning to close, connecting your past struggles to a future of sovereign authority. You may have felt this before, that lingering sense of delay, as if your life was a ship tethered to a dock by heavy ropes you could not see or untie. My beloved, the hands holding those ropes may be the same hands that held you as a child, or the ones that share your ancestral name and blood. You are beginning to recognize the treachery hidden behind blood ties, a subtle and ancient sabotage that often dresses itself in the language of protection or family tradition. You might recall a relatable inner struggle, where you felt a strange guilt for your own ambition, fearing that your rising would somehow diminish those who chose to stay small and stagnant. There's something about this dynamic that feels like a micro-tension in your soul, a resistance that has been keeping you from the expansion you were born to inhabit. You may be noticing how certain family members become restless, critical, or oddly silent the moment you express a new idea or a newfound sense of inner peace. This is because your celestial alignment is creating a frequency that their shadows cannot withstand, forcing them to either grow alongside you or attempt to pull you back down into the dark. Stay with this awareness for a moment, for in a little while this may become clearer, and you will understand why the delay you faced was actually a necessary period of ethereal defense. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing just outside the open gate, their eyes reflecting the light inscriptions of the stars that mapped your birth. They are the ones who broke the silence in the spiritual realm, those who saw the treachery in their own time but perhaps lacked the language or the strength to name it openly. They are pouring their ancient courage into your spirit now, acting as a divine guardian who filters out the static of family drama so you can hear the music of your own destiny. You may have had a subtle real-life moment recently, a sudden realization during a quiet walk or a dream, where a soft voice told you that you owe nothing to those who do not honor your light. You are moving from a season of searching into a season of recognizing, where you no longer look for permission to be powerful or an apology for being different. This is the sacred surrender not to the will of others or the pressure of your kin, but to the divine will that mapped your internal compass before you were born into this lineage. You are surrendering the need to be the good child or the reliable sibling at the expense of your own soul's divine expansion. This expansion is your birthright, and as you step through the open gate, you will find that the ethereal defense around you becomes an impenetrable wall against those who seek to drain your energy. Think of an emotional recognition scene where you stood in a room full of relatives and felt like a stranger from a distant world, even as you shared their table. That was not loneliness, my chosen. That was the frequency of your sovereign clarity asserting itself over the inherited confusion of your family line. You were noticing the fundamental mismatch between your high destiny and their repetitive history, a gap that can only be bridged by your own brave ascent. You are not here to carry their unhealed burdens. You are here to show them what it looks like to be entirely free of them. There is something about this specific moment that is triggering a profound recalibration of your spirit and your path. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected, for the path of the air is one that requires constant alignment with the truth of the heavens. You might notice that as we speak, the light inscriptions around you are becoming more vivid, revealing the next steps of your journey with unmistakable clarity. Stay with this moment, for there's something deeper here, a secret strength that is rising from the very earth beneath your feet to support your every move. You are the designated heir of glory, and the gates of your future are now standing wide open, waiting for you to walk through with the authority that is rightfully yours. The light inscription is a signature of the divine, a spiritual code that bypasses the logic of the mind and speaks directly to the DNA of the chosen. It reveals that the treachery you faced within your bloodline was actually the whetstone that sharpened your discernment for the levels of greatness ahead. Without the friction of those hidden envies and subtle betrayals, you would not have developed the internal compass that now guides you with such unerring precision. Every delay was a divine weight, while your ethereal defense was being reinforced by the Watcher, ensuring that when you finally entered the season of expansion, no weapon formed against your peace could prosper. You are not ordinary, my child. You are a celestial appointment in human form, a bridge between the wisdom of the ancestors and the glory of the future. You have been noticing a strange pull toward higher frequencies, a craving for truth and transparency that makes the small talk of your social circles feel like sand in your mouth. This is the identity of the heir rising within you, demanding a life that is as vast as the stars and as deep as the ancient seas. If this resonates, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, perhaps a sense of profound relief, or a sudden, brave spark of joy that has no earthly explanation. As this chapter of your awakening concludes, allow the image of the open gate to stay firmly in your mind's eye as a symbol of your new reality. The treachery of the past is now behind the fence of your old life, and you are stepping into a territory that is governed only by your alignment and the love of the heavens. Your vigilant ancestor is standing guard at your back, ensuring that the peace you have found today remains undisturbed by the echoes of former struggles. Carry this sovereign clarity with you like a lantern into the coming days, and remember that you are guided, you are protected, and you are more powerful than any bloodline could ever contain. There is a reason you have been pulled toward this specific frequency today, as if a silent call was broadcast across the stars and your spirit was the only one capable of receiving it. Something may be unfolding beneath the surface of your conscious thoughts, a subtle realignment of your destiny that has brought you to this exact moment of stillness. You may have sensed this before, a feeling of being on the verge of a revelation that the world was too loud to let you hear until now. Don't rush past this just yet, my beloved heir. Let this unfold for a second and allow your awareness to settle into this unseen place of reflection where the air is thick with divine intent. You are standing now in a realm of quiet observation, a sanctuary where the shadows of your life are finally being cast in the light of truth. You are not here randomly, for your celestial alignment has triggered a shift that allows you to see the invisible threads of treachery hidden behind blood ties. You may be noticing a strange sensation in your heart lately, a mixture of heaviness and anticipation, as if you are carrying a divine key that you haven't yet learned how to turn. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something about this specific timing that connects to a secret your spirit has been keeping from your mind. You may have felt this before, the crushing weight of expectations that were never yours to fulfill, placed upon your shoulders by those who claim to love you most. My choice. It is possible that you have been moving through a fog of haunted uncertainty, wondering why your path feels so much more difficult than the paths of those around you. You might be noticing how the atmosphere in your home changes when you step into your power, as if your very presence is a mirror that others find too painful to look into. There is something about the way your bloodline reacts to your light that suggests a deep-seated fear of the change you represent. This heaviness you carry is not a sign of failure, but a sign of your ethereal defense being tested and strengthened by the friction of your environment. Not everything is clear yet, but the micro-tension you feel is a necessary pressure, preparing you for a release that will redefine the boundaries of your world. In a moment, this may become clearer, and you will understand why the treachery you faced was allowed to touch your life. You are the designated heir of glory, and the internal compass you possess is currently recalibrating itself to steer you toward a sanctuary of sovereign clarity. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing near you in this unseen place of reflection, their spirit, a steady flame that guards the gates of your awareness. This ancestor was a pioneer of the soul, one who sought the same truth you are now discovering but was perhaps silenced by the weight of their own era. They are reaching through the folds of time to offer you the courage they once held in secret, ensuring that your ethereal defense is impenetrable. You may have noticed a subtle, real-life moment recently, perhaps a sudden, cold clarity during a heated argument, where you realized you no longer needed to win, you only needed to remain at peace. Think about a relatable inner struggle you have navigated lately, like the silent battle of choosing to keep your distance from a relative who consistently drains your joy. You may have felt a sense of guilt for this choice, as if your loyalty to your blood should outweigh your loyalty to your own spirit. You are noticing now that the loyalty demanded of you was often a one-way street, designed to keep you stationary while others moved at your expense. This is an awareness trigger, a moment where the divine key turns in the lock, revealing that your first and most sacred duty is to the celestial alignment of your own heart. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, listening to a voice that speaks of a freedom you thought was impossible. The treachery you have experienced within your family circle was not a random act of cruelty, but a catalytic event meant to push you out of the nest of false security. You are moving from a state of being haunted by what others might think, into a state of being anchored by what you know to be true. This sovereign clarity is the birthright of the heir of glory, and it is a light that no darkness of lineage can ever extinguish. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected, for the journey of the heir is a path that requires constant nourishment from the realms of light. You might notice that as we speak, the heaviness you brought with you is beginning to transform into a sense of profound awareness. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a quiet expansion of your spirit that is making room for the blessings that have been waiting for your readiness. You are no longer searching for your place in the world. You are recognizing that the world must make place for you and the glory you carry. There is a subtle, real-life moment you might remember. The feeling of a sudden, deep sigh that escaped your lips for no reason, as if your soul was finally letting go of a breath it had been holding for years. That was the beginning of the release, the moment when your ethereal defense shifted from a passive shield into an active force of transformation. You are not here randomly, my child. You are here because your star-mapped internal compass has led you to the exact coordinates of your awakening. The treachery that once felt like a cage is now revealed to be the very thing that forced you to find the key to your own liberation. Your identity as the heir of glory is not a title given by men, but a state of being recognized by the heavens and the earth alike. You may have spent a lifetime trying to prove your worth to those who were committed to seeing you as small, but that struggle is ending now as you realize their vision was never your reality. The sovereign clarity you are stepping into will allow you to see the world not as a place of competition and betrayal, but as a vast field of divine appointment, where your every step is guided. As you embrace this truth, you will find that the people who once caused you the most pain simply fade into the background of a story that is now entirely yours. As this reflection draws to a close, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the quietest part of your soul. There is a sense of being finished with the old ways, a profound "it is done" that echoes through your bloodline and clears the path for those who will come after you. Your vigilant ancestor is satisfied, for they see that the light they passed down is now burning with a brilliance that can never be dimmed. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, and carry this sovereign clarity with you as you move forward, knowing that your ethereal defense is active, your compass is true, and your glory is inevitable. You may not even know why you stopped here, as if a sudden, quiet hand reached out to pause your world just as you were about to move past. There may be something unfolding beneath the surface of this day, a shifting of unseen tides that has been waiting for this exact silence to make itself known. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a subtle vibration in your spirit that whispers of a truth long hidden from your sight. Don't rush past this just yet, my heir. Let this unfold for a second, and allow your breath to find its rhythm within this sacred space of reflection. You are standing now in a silent corridor of divine appointment, a place where the echoes of the world's demands are silenced by the weight of your own becoming. You are not here randomly, my beloved. You have been led to this passage because your celestial alignment has opened a door to the hidden archive of your soul. You may be noticing a strange sense of familiarity in this stillness, as if you have walked these hallowed floors in your dreams more often than you have walked the streets of your own city. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something deeper here, a light that is beginning to glow within the archive, ready to reveal the map of your true purpose. You may have felt this before, the haunting uncertainty that arrives when you realize the people you call your own do not truly see you. My choice. It is possible that you have been navigating a landscape of treachery hidden behind blood ties, a world where smiles are often shields for unspoken jealousies. You might be noticing how your energy shifts when you enter a room full of relatives, a subtle closing of your heart that you once mistook for shyness but now recognize as protection. There is an emotional recognition scene you might remember, standing in the middle of a family celebration and feeling a profound sense of searching for a home that was never actually there. This searching is finally ending, for you are realizing that your home is not found in the approval of your lineage, but in the sovereign clarity of your own alignment. Not everything is clear yet, and that is because your spirit is still shedding the old garments of false loyalty that were draped over your shoulders by those who feared your height. There's something about this shedding that feels like a loss, a micro-tension in your spirit as you let go of the good child persona that kept you safe but small. In a moment, this may become clearer, and you will understand that the rejection you faced from your kin was actually an ethereal defense, keeping you from becoming entangled in their stagnant cycles. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at your side in this hidden archive, their hands resting lightly on the glowing book of your future. This ancestor is the one who saw the same treachery in their own generation, the one who tried to warn you through your intuition before this message ever reached your eyes. They have been acting as a guardian of your peace, whispering the word "wait" into your ear when you were about to trust too much, and move when the atmosphere around you became too heavy. You may have noticed a sudden, sharp clarity about a specific person lately, a realization that their kindness was actually a hook, and that was your watcher pulling back the veil. You possess a star-mapped internal compass that is currently vibrating in response to the celestial alignment of your life. This symbol of your divine identity is not affected by the guilt that others try to project onto you, for it is tethered to the eternal stars rather than earthly bloodlines. You may be noticing how your sense of direction is sharpening, making it easier to say no to the obligations that once felt like chains. There is a subtle, real-life moment you might recall, a time recently when you chose to stay home and honor your own peace instead of attending a gathering where you knew your spirit would be drained. That was the moment your compass began to lead you out of the haunted uncertainty and into the light. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, listening to a voice that acknowledges the battle you've been fighting in secret. The treachery you have experienced within your family was not a punishment, but a divine strategy to ensure you would never look for your worth in the hands of those who cannot appreciate it. You are moving from a season of searching for validation into a season of recognizing your own sovereign clarity. This is the transformation of the heir of glory, a process where the pain of the past becomes the wisdom of the future. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this corridor of light, for your journey into the fullness of your power is only just beginning. You might notice that as we speak, the air in the silent corridor is becoming warmer, as if the light of the hidden archive is expanding to fill every corner of your life. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a quiet activation of your ethereal defense that will ensure no weapon of treachery can ever prosper against you again. You are not just a member of a bloodline. You are a designated heir of a glory that transcends time and space. Think of an emotional recognition scene where you finally stop trying to explain your choices to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. That silence was not a sign of weakness, but a sign of your awakening to the truth that your path is meant for your feet alone. You are noticing now that as you stop giving away your energy to those who do not honor it, your own light becomes a radiant force that attracts the true kin of your spirit. The people who are meant to walk with you will recognize your frequency and meet you in the clarity of your new season, without the need for masks or competition. As this chapter of your awakening concludes, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the very center of your chest. There is a sense of becoming a realization that you are no longer the victim of your history, but the architect of your own celestial destiny. Your vigilant ancestor is smiling, for they see that the chain of treachery has finally been broken by your brave choice to walk in your own sovereign clarity. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, and carry this peace with you as you move back into the world, knowing that your compass is set, your archive is open, and your glory is now being revealed. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, as if the very fabric of your digital journey was woven to lead you to this exact intersection of time and space. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for there is a resonance in the air that suggests a shifting beneath the visible world, a movement of celestial gears that has finally brought your life into focus. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a quiet hum in your marrow that tells you a cycle is finally completing itself, making room for a truth that has been waiting at your door. Just give this a little space to breathe, my heir, and let this unfold for a second while we step together into the silent corridor of your own divine appointment. Your soul's frequency triggered this specific encounter because you have reached a level of awareness where the whispers of the heavens are no longer enough. You are now ready for the full light of your sovereign clarity. You are standing in a place of profound reflection, a setting that exists between the breadths of the world where your ethereal defense is being meticulously fortified. You are not here randomly, my chosen. You have been led to this still inner chamber to witness the turning of a divine key that only you can hold. You may be noticing a subtle shift in your surroundings, as if the colors of your life are becoming more vivid and the shadows more distinct. This is the effect of celestial alignment, a sharpening of your spiritual vision that allows you to see the true architecture of your existence. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something about this specific alignment that is beginning to expose the hidden foundations of your bloodline. You may have felt this before, a haunting uncertainty that follows you into the most festive rooms, a sense that even amidst the laughter of kin, your spirit is standing on the outside looking in. My beloved, you may have been navigating a landscape of treachery hidden behind blood ties, where the very people who claim to be your foundation are the ones who have been quietly eroding your soil. You might be noticing how your growth is often met with a peculiar resistance, a subtle dampening of your joy by those who prefer the version of you that was easier to manage. There is an emotional recognition scene you likely know well. The moment you share a dream and watch as it is dismantled by the practical advice of someone who simply fears your ascent. This delay in your expansion was never a reflection of your worth, but a result of a struggle. You were born into a battle of frequencies between your rising light and the stagnant energy of an unhealed lineage. Not everything is clear yet, and that micro-tension in your chest is the feeling of your spirit preparing to snap the invisible threads that have kept you tethered to their expectations. You are moving from a state of searching for an anchor in others to recognizing that you are the anchor yourself. In a moment, this may become clearer as we look at the star-mapped internal compass that is currently activating within your spirit to lead you through this mist of misplaced loyalty. You are the designated heir of glory, and the treachery you have faced was merely the darkness required for your light to be unmistakably recognized. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at the end of this silent corridor, their presence a glowing inscription of love that transcends the boundaries of life and death. This ancestor was the keeper of the true light in your lineage, a soul who understood the burden of being the chosen one, and who now acts as the guardian of your ethereal defense. They have been watching over your quiet battles, standing between you and the invisible arrows of envy that have been launched from within your own circle. You may have noticed a sudden, inexplicable sense of strength lately, a feeling of being carried through a difficult day without knowing why. This is your watcher intervening, ensuring that your frequency remains high even when the world tries to pull it down. You possess a star-mapped internal compass that is no longer pointing toward the approval of your relatives, but toward the sovereign clarity of your divine purpose. You may be noticing how your intuition has become a sharp, undeniable tool, cutting through the excuses and the false smiles of those who do not hold your best interests at heart. This symbol of your identity is currently recalibrating, shifting your path away from the haunted uncertainty of your past and toward a territory that is governed by your own alignment. There is a subtle, real-life moment you might recall, a time recently when a familiar voice said something that used to hurt you, but this time you felt nothing but a quiet, objective observation. That was the compass confirming that you are no longer in that frequency. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, listening to a voice that speaks the truth your spirit has been shouting in the dark. The treachery you experienced was a necessary catalyst, a friction designed to make you look inward until you found the light inscriptions of your own soul. You are not here to fix the broken branches of your family tree. You are here to be the new seed that grows in a different soil altogether. This realization is the beginning of your sovereign clarity, a state where you are so aligned with your celestial purpose that the opinions of men become like smoke in the wind. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a quiet power that is reclaiming your history and transforming it into your throne. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency of truth, for your journey as the heir of glory is a path of constant discovery. You might notice that as we speak, the light in the silent corridor is intensifying, reflecting the expansion of your own awareness. This is not about the numbers of your kin or the fame of your name. It is about the purity of the alignment you maintain with the heavens. Your ethereal defense is now an active shield, a resonance that naturally filters out the toxic and the untruthful before they can even reach your inner chamber. You are becoming the master of your own energy, and that mastery is the greatest treasure you will ever possess. Think about the relatable inner struggle of wanting to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You have spent years searching for a language that they could hear, only to realize that the problem was never your words, but their frequency. You are noticing now that as you stop trying to explain yourself, you find a profound peace that you never knew was possible. This connects to something deeper, a divine appointment that required you to be stripped of all false dependencies so that you could finally see the star-mapped glory you were born to manifest. The treachery of blood was the final lesson in learning that your only true allegiance is to the light within. As this chapter of your awakening concludes, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the quietest part of your mind. There is a sense of coming home, not to a house or a family, but to a state of being where you are sovereign, clear, and absolutely protected. Your vigilant ancestor is nodding in approval, for they see that you have finally recognized the compass in your hand and the glory in your spirit. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling and carry this sovereign clarity with you into your world. You are the heir of a destiny that is mapped in the stars, and the path ahead is now illuminated by the very light you thought you had lost. Out of everything you encountered today, you paused here, as if a silent invitation was placed directly in your path by an unseen hand. Something may be unfolding beneath the surface of your usual thoughts, a delicate orchestration of timing that is pulling you away from the noise and toward a hidden truth. You may have sensed this before, a lingering feeling that your life is a story being rewritten in the stars while you are busy living it on the ground. Don't rush past this just yet, my heir. Give this a little space to settle, and let the quiet of this silent corridor of divine appointment become your sanctuary. Your soul's frequency triggered this encounter, because your internal vibration has finally reached a pitch that can pierce through the veil of your own doubt. You are standing in a place of profound stillness, an inner landscape where the air itself feels like it is waiting for your next realization. You are not here randomly, my chosen. You have been led to this setting because your celestial alignment is now demanding a higher level of discernment from your spirit. You may be noticing a new kind of awareness lately, a sharp clarity that makes the old, blurry ways of living feel increasingly uncomfortable. This is the activation of your ethereal defense, a spiritual shield that is being reinforced even as you listen to these words. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something deeper here, a light inscription on the wall of your heart that is about to reveal the identity of the designated heir of glory. You may have felt this before, the strange, cold sensation of realizing that the home you built was resting on a foundation of whispers and hidden agendas. My beloved, it is possible that you have been navigating a season of haunted uncertainty, specifically surrounding those who share your lineage and your history. You might be noticing how your attempts to heal the family dynamic are met with a subtle, persistent sabotage, as if your peace is viewed as a threat by those who prefer the chaos. There is an emotional recognition scene you might recall, sitting in a room full of relatives and feeling a sudden, sharp pang of knowing that your truth will never be safe in their hands. This treachery hidden behind blood ties is a weight you were never meant to carry alone, and the heavens are now moving to lift it from your weary shoulders. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, I want you to focus on the star-mapped internal compass that is glowing in the center of your being. This compass is your sovereign guide, a celestial instrument that is entirely immune to the emotional manipulation and guilt often used by those who seek to control you. You may have spent a lifetime trying to follow the maps that others drew for you, only to find yourself lost in a forest of their expectations. You are noticing now that the only map that matters is the one written in your own light, the light inscription that details your unique purpose and your divine standing. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the edge of a sovereign clarity that no one can take away from you. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at your back, their presence a solid pillar of strength in the shifting mists of your life. This ancestor is the one who recognized your potential before you were even a thought, the one who paved the way for your ethereal defense with their own silent sacrifices. They are reaching through the silence now to tell you that you are the heir of a glory that cannot be diminished by the small minds of your kin. You may have noticed a subtle, real-life moment recently, a sudden, deep knowing that a certain path was closed to you for your own protection, even though it looked like a loss at the time. This was your Watcher's hand at work, steering you back into the alignment of your true destiny. Something is shifting in the way you perceive your own history, moving from the confusion of betrayal to the awakening of your true power. You are moving from a state of searching for approval to a state of becoming the one who sets the standards for your own life. You may have felt a micro-tension in your spirit lately, a resistance to the old roles you used to play in your family circle. This resistance is not rebellion. It is the natural expansion of a soul that has outgrown its cage. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a quiet realization that your sovereign clarity is the greatest gift you can offer to yourself and the world. Think of the relatable inner struggle you face when you decide to say no to a family obligation that you know will leave you feeling hollowed out. You may feel a wave of habitual guilt, but beneath that, you are noticing a new, steady pulse of self-respect that is beginning to drown out the noise of others. This is an awareness trigger, a sign that your ethereal defense is becoming your primary way of interacting with the world. You are no longer the one who can be easily swayed by the duty of blood when it conflicts with the duty of your own soul. This connects to something deeper, a divine appointment that requires you to be whole and unburdened before you can step into the next phase of your glory. There is something about this moment that is preparing you for a reveal that will change the way you see your future. In a moment, this may become clearer, but the transformation requires you to remain in this quiet inner chamber of reflection just a little while longer. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency of truth and empowerment. You might notice that as you listen, the haunted uncertainty that once defined your relationships is being replaced by a calm, sovereign clarity. This is the birthright of the heir, a state of being where you are so grounded in your celestial alignment that no storm of treachery can move you from your center. You are the designated heir of glory, a title that was conferred upon you by the stars themselves, regardless of the opinions of those who share your name. You may have spent years feeling like a stranger in your own skin, because you were trying to live by a script that was written for someone else. You are noticing now that as you reclaim your own story, your presence takes on a weight and a brilliance that others are forced to respect. The treachery you faced was merely the catalyst for this reclamation, a necessary friction that forced you to find the star-mapped internal compass within yourself. Your sovereign clarity is now your crown, and your ethereal defense is your kingdom. As we approach the final movement of this chapter, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your awareness. There is a sense of coming into alignment, a feeling that the pieces of your life are finally fitting together into a picture that makes sense. Your vigilant ancestor is satisfied, for they see that you are no longer a victim of your lineage, but the architect of your own destiny. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling, and carry this sense of sovereign clarity with you into your world. You are protected, you are guided, and the glory you carry is now ready to be revealed to a world that has been waiting for someone like you. Something about this moment brought you here, almost as if your spirit leaned into the silence at the exact second the universe began to whisper your name. There is a timing to this you may not have noticed yet, a convergence of your past endurance and your future authority that has finally reached a point of perfect balance. You may have been feeling a strange sense of anticipation lately, a vibration you couldn't quite explain that whispered of a final door opening in the quietest part of your soul. Don't rush past this just yet, my child. Let this unfold for a second and see if your heart doesn't recognize the frequency of a home you haven't visited in a very long time. Your soul's frequency triggered this specific encounter because you have finally outgrown the shadows that once tried to define your worth. You are standing now at the very end of the silent corridor of divine appointment, a place where the air is thick with the scent of ancient stars and the promise of a morning that never ends. You are not here randomly, my heir. You have been led to this threshold because your celestial alignment has moved into a configuration of total sovereignty. You may be noticing how the distractions of your outer world are starting to feel like static on a distant radio, losing their power to pull you from your center. This is the activation of your ethereal defense in its most potent form, a frequency of peace that acts as an impenetrable shield for the designated heir of glory. Stay with this moment for a little while longer, because there is something about this final passage that is about to reveal the full map of your internal compass. You may have felt this before, the haunted uncertainty of standing in a room full of people who share your blood but do not share your light. My beloved, it is possible that you have spent a lifetime navigating the treachery hidden behind blood ties, wondering why those who should have been your greatest protectors were often the ones who cast the longest shadows. You might be noticing how your spirit has been tired of the subtle competitions and the silent judgments that have followed you since childhood. There is a relatable inner struggle you likely know well, the feeling of being a black sheep or an outsider, only to realize that you were simply the only one in the fold who could see the stars. This treachery was not a mistake of fate, but a necessary friction designed to force you into a place of sovereign clarity. In a moment, this may become clearer. But first, I want you to feel the weight of the star-mapped internal compass that is now fully illuminated within your chest. This is not a tool you acquired through study or effort, but a birthright that was etched into your spirit by the hands of the divine before you were ever born into your lineage. You may have spent years doubting your own direction, trying to use the maps of your ancestors to find a destination that only you were meant to reach. You are noticing now that those old maps have led you to a dead end, and that the only true path is the one that vibrates in harmony with your own frequency. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the summit of your own awakening. Your vigilant ancestor from beyond is standing at the very exit of this corridor, their spirit glowing with a fierce, protective pride that shields you from any lingering darkness. This ancestor is the one who saw the patterns of betrayal in their own lifetime and made a silent pact with the heavens to ensure that you would be the one to break them. They have been the silent observer of your every struggle, the one who whispered, "Stay strong," when your heart felt like it was breaking under the weight of family expectations. You may have noticed a subtle, real-life moment recently, perhaps a sudden, cool breeze on a still day, or a feeling of being hugged from behind when you were alone. This was your watcher's way of letting you know that your ethereal defense is complete and that the treachery of the past can no longer reach you. Not everything is clear yet, and that micro-tension in your spirit is simply the final adjustment of your soul to its new frequency of power. You may be noticing how your old triggers no longer have the same effect, as if the emotional hooks that used to pull you into family drama have been dissolved by a light you didn't know you possessed. There is an emotional recognition scene you might recall, a moment recently where you watched a familiar conflict unfold and felt absolutely no desire to participate, only a profound sense of, I am not this. This connects to something deeper, the realization that your sovereign clarity is not just a feeling, but a state of being that has transformed you from a seeker into a sovereign. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this truth as you step into your new world. You are moving from a season of searching into a season of becoming, where the search for external validation is replaced by the recognition of your own divine standing. You may have spent years wondering if you were enough for those who were incapable of seeing your value, but that search ends here in the corridor of divine appointment. You are noticing now that the glory you carry is not a light you have to produce, but a light you have to allow, a celestial alignment that has been waiting for your surrender to its brilliance. This is the final stage of your transformation, the moment when the designated heir of glory finally puts on the crown they have been carrying in their heart for lifetimes. Stay with this moment. There's something deeper here, a final piece of the map that is clicking into place. The treachery you faced within your bloodline served its purpose. It was the darkness that taught you to recognize your own light. You are no longer haunted by the uncertainty of who you are or where you belong, for your internal compass is now tethered to the eternal and the absolute. You might notice that as you walk through these final steps of the silent corridor, the images of your past are not disappearing, but are being rearranged into a new story of triumph and wisdom. Your ethereal defense is no longer a wall, but a radiant atmosphere that precedes you, changing the hearts of those you encounter, or simply removing those who are not in alignment with your peace. You are the sovereign of your own destiny, and the world is now responding to the frequency of your clarity. As this message concludes, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the most sacred part of your awareness. There is a sense of profound completion, a feeling that the becoming is no longer a future goal, but a present reality. Your vigilant ancestor is smiling, for they see that the light they guarded has finally found its true home in your spirit. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling and acknowledge that the journey you have taken was necessary for the authority you now possess. You are the heir of a glory that transcends your family name, and as you step out of this corridor, you do so with the protection of heaven and the clarity of the stars. My chosen, you are safe, you are guided, and you are finally free. The treachery is behind you, the compass is within you, and the celestial alignment is for you. Carry this sovereign clarity into every room you enter, and remember that you no longer need to search for home, for you have become the home your spirit was seeking. If you have felt a resonance here, take a second to breathe in the peace that is now your permanent companion. You are the designated heir of glory, and your beautiful journey is just beginning. Stay in this space of reflection as long as you need, and when you are ready, walk forward into the light that was made for your eyes alone.